Yeah, like I was under the impression of the same thing. 44, make sure all the oracles work, as
Yep.
they're intended to with the soft fork. Then make sure everything else is the same, but which it most likely will be, Yeah, we're there though. It's crazy. Before
Yeah, dude.
Monday.
I mean, after 7 years of discussing and now all this, I mean, I was telling AJ, man, we've been getting so much awareness lately. It's been crazy everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. More to come soon for sure.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, see, yeah. Wait, you retweeted this. Yeah. I don't normally tell people to fucking retweet, but yeah, retweet this shit because I didn't know people couldn't, like, see my stuff sometimes,
What are you talking about?
like my tweets. Like, they don't even get notified if they're supposed to get notified or something like
Yeah,
that.
I had to go to your main account because
Okay.
I got the article link from AJ, and then I'm like, oh, okay. So I didn't even see your post, and then I clicked on your account, and then I saw it, and then I was like, okay, the article's good, but we gotta change the vessel name.
Yeah, man, that was the
uh,
gold. That was the bread and butter. I was trying to lighten up the mood a little bit with it, but
yeah, no, but I mean
I get you.
the material of it was excellent. But like I said, man, like a lot of people are yourself, other people are posting or publishing articles. Then that media kit got done. So that's done. There's a lot of stuff going on, man. It's good. Then the whole Digidollar thing, getting all the price oracle stuff, that was pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, it's dude, I think we're one of the rare communities pushing out this much stuff in this kind of current condition and climate, dude. I really
Yeah,
do.
same.
I mean,
Everyone
I'm not
else is
sitting there
getting
going into every
exploited,
other community, but it just seems like macro, everybody's just basically checked out.
getting exploited.
Yep.
Literally, yeah.
Yep. Pretty much.
Yeah, man. I feel the same. Ever since the whole Qubit thing with Monero, that's when it all started to like
Mm-hmm.
show, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And now look where we are. It's not
Mm-hmm.
even just crypto, but yeah, like yeah, it's looking crazy, crazy. But good
Well,
for
even the whole
DGB.
Zcash thing, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to spread any, like, I don't know all the ins and outs, but I mean, to have, Claude exploit something from 4 years ago, I mean, makes me wonder if, I mean, you saw it too, dude, like
Yeah.
all the exchanges, Silicon Valley, everybody was jumping ship on that.
Hmm.
And who knows if all of that stuff that was going was just the infinite bug that was just printing more and more. We don't know.
Exactly. Exactly. Why do you think the Shillers came around about 3 months ago? Just
Yep.
and that's why the price went up. The insiders. Wait, yeah, fuck it. We're on my space, dude. Like that was the insiders, man. The insiders selling off because they knew that shit was about to get shed, come to light. All of this leading to the whole fiasco. Everything that was at an inflection point got inflected, literally, and infected. So, except for DGB, we're literally you don't hear shit about us. That's the beauty of it, and that's the reality of it. Because we are what we say we are. Shit's crazy though how people aren't realizing, but yeah, people aren't realizing. Yeah.
Dude, I've seen so much FUD lately about Digibyte now too. It's crazy. I saw something about they were talking about AI and oh yeah, watch out for all dino chains, and I posted in there like why? Because I know Jared has basically done all the Digiswarm stuff. What's crazy about it? Yeah, it's attacked Digidollar, but it's attacked the native protocol too, which I don't think anybody's doing that. To basically split test or, basically audit the chain real time to find issues and then correct them. That's exactly why we're getting all these other issues on all these. And I'm sure there's going to be many, many more, especially a lot of these ETH tokens and stuff that they've probably got, contract vulnerabilities and all types of other exploits there. We just don't know.
Yeah, until someone finds out.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all there. No one else was doing it. No one else cared because it was pay to play. Now I hope people are starting to realize that it's not pay to play anymore. Like, all the people that are paying are kind of getting thrown under the bus right now by the people that, were paying them. This is what it seems like,
Mm-hmm.
especially with clarity and market structure kind of around the corner at this point, . Sure,
You
we got
still
the
think that's going
market.
to get passed?
I mean, it kind of has to, you know, it kind of has to. When? I'm not sure. That they keep shooting for something, and then the next month it's not there. So we'll see. But where we are from a market standpoint, you know, dollar price, I would say it's pretty close. We're not there yet fully, but it's kind of close.
Yeah, I think if they don't pass it by August, I think it's dead. I think
Yeah.
he wants to I think Trump wants to do it by July 4th, just to kind of highlight, 250 years and Clarity Act, crypto, capital of the world, blah, blah, blah. But if they don't do it by that time, I think with the recess, and I don't think anything's going to happen until midterms. It's going to be too late.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no telling, really, at this point, what they're gonna do. No telling.
So I just got a DigiSwarm update. And let me just see here. It says none under the
34.
Yeah, so we're good. It says none under the current 35 operator target. So no
DigiHash
more
still
new
needs.
assignments. That's it.
Yeah.
So he just has
DigiHash
to give
ID
that pub
28
key
still
and
needs
we're
to
good.
approve 4 I see. Which one's DigiHash mining pool? Is he in here? He was in here earlier talking, right?
Who?
Digi Hash. Or was
No,
that Hash?
DigiHash is Jared's mining pool.
Oh, okay, okay. All right.
So he needs to give that pub key, which he's not going to do because he's not around right now. So
Yeah.
he'll probably do that on Monday. But I mean, that's easy peasy. I mean, that's him. So
Yeah.
with that being said, I think we're now, yeah, we got all 35. There's a confirmation right there, man.
Yeah. Damn, dude. All right. Next step coming, you know? Next day, next phase, as we'll say, incoming for sure.
Dude, you know what's awesome? The suggestion you gave about pool operators. If you look, one of the pool operators is Hashmax,
Yeah.
and then there's DigiHash. You do realize, like, now that their price, I mean, I know DigiHash is different, but you know that because they're price oracles, they're basically giving you the signal that they're going to update to 9.26. So they become part of the consensus already.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Damn, yeah.
so what I'm saying is we don't have to like now target 70%. It'll be whatever that percentage is. Cause that one dude on Hashmax, he's like, it's like two guys. I think it's him and then another person. They're running it. I think they've been pumped out like 1,000 or 1,200 blocks of Digibyte already. So,
Okay, damn. All right.
so I don't know what his percentage will be, but the other thing I was going to tell you is if you go to, digibyte.io, and you go to, let's see here. You go to blocks, I think it is. Is that what it is? Let me see here. Hold on a second. I'm trying to see if it'll load. There it is. Let's see if I go to blocks. No, it's not blocks. It's pools, I think. Yeah. So if you hit the pools button on Digibyte stats and you go and it shows you mining pool distribution and you go below, you'll see it gives you the pool names, a lot of them. And so like it says mine by Ant, and then I got molepool.com, Mining Dutch, RTS pool, then obviously there's solo pool, Z pool, hashhut.net. All these pools, dude, those are the ones we're going to target to get them to update for
Yeah, those were the
9.26.
ones.
Those are the ones. And if you look at M2 pool, they do a lot of blocks. So that means, and even Mining Dutch. So that means that their approval will dictate a ton more consensus. So I've talked to Mining Dutch. I was trying to get him to be a price oracle. I sent him all the Digidollar video stuff. Cryptex, I just talked to them too. They had neither of these pools had heard about Digidollar, but I've sent them information. M2 pool, we have a contact with them. So, I mean, who knows, man? Like, this is like vital information for us because this will help us try to find these places out quicker to get them to update. So we might not have to wait like 3 or 4 months to get all this stuff. I mean, obviously it depends on, how quickly they can upgrade, but if they can do that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. That's basically the next step we need to be thinking about too right now. Because I mean
Yep.
we've got 35, so it's just literally test what's already been tested and make
Mm-hmm.
sure 35 works. I've got a good feeling 35 will work. What's going on?
Yo.
Some good shit going on today, dude. Fucking super busy, bro.
Same. Hell yeah, guys.
Well, just ride on the Blue Titan.
What's going on, Digibyte
The
fam?
digi bitch, bro.
Yeah, dude.
That's what we on.
Yo,
What's
what's
up,
good, Green?
CJ?
That's your AI?
Yeah, what's up? What's up?
Nothing much, man. I'm just at work.
Okay.
Yo, Green, that's your AI, bro? Just be honest, bro. That's you?
What, you talking about? Like, what, the writing?
The
Nah.
video that came out.
Nah, bro, I
Yeah,
swear to God, that's not me. When I seen it, I was like, damn, bro, you at least can give credit. But I liked the shit. The shit was pretty
Well,
cool.
they
Like,
actually did give you credit at the end. It said TGC.
no, they technically just copied the words from the thing, and the AI probably forgot to take out TGC. You
Uh,
know, in my opinion, it looks like they tried to copy it, but did it sloppily. Kind of got a feeling I know who it is, but I won't publicly, state them. But yeah, that shit's pretty funny, bro. But yeah, I fucked with it. I like really liked it. It was cool. It's
Hey,
cool to
didn't
see
we
that.
mention Green? Green, didn't we mention on one of the space that something like this was gonna happen? That's why I asked if it was like if you believe it's like an AI agent that maybe an AI agent did it, or is it someone behind it? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking.
I don't know. No, you're not overthinking. You're definitely not overthinking.
Oh,
I've
dude,
got
I'm
a
in the wrong
feeling I
page.
know who it is,
BRB.
but that's some good fucking AI though. Like the words inside of the coins were like on point. Like the fine text. So it was like, yeah, whatever AI they were using. So maybe it could be an AI using good AI. To be honest, maybe. You never know. As you made me think, but yeah, nah. Hell yeah, though.
so cash cows.
How's it going?
Missed everything. All right, I was in the wrong account.
Word. Hell yeah. Now what's going on, guys? Yo, 35, bro. Big
Dude, we
35
made it.
there.
We
Yeah,
made
look
it.
at.
35 oracles, bro. That's exactly what we needed.
just curious. Have those oracles been verified and cleared for like?
Yeah,
Cause
I just got the roster list, and all 35 have been verified. The only thing that's missing is DigiHash's pub key, which is actually Jared's mining pool. He's not going to be around this weekend. I think he's just touching grass, but yeah, that key he should get. But all the other 34 Oracle keys and commitments have been verified.
that's awesome, man. Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I was
guys.
just saying to Green earlier that, the thing from now will be, we will get those keys verified. RC44 will come out. We'll see how the 35 price oracles work with consensus. Find out if there's any other issues, whether it's, any bug kind of issues. And I think from there, I would imagine you're going to mainnet. And mainnet, we've figured out how to find a lot of the pools that we can contact. And then we need 70% signaling. And I was saying how it was a great idea that Green said to try to get some of the pool operators to be oracles, because we did get obviously DigiHash and we got Hashmax pool, which they're pumping out lots of Digibyte blocks lately. And so what it does is, because they're a price oracle, you're kind of indirectly getting their consensus for the new upgrade. So it's not like we have to hunt for them. If they go upgrade because they're a price oracle and now they move to that, mainnet, they become part of that consensus. So that would reduce the 70% approval we need, because they're part of that, which is awesome. So we don't have to get them to approve or agree, because why would they not?
I've got a counter too. If yeah, but I'm not gonna say it now because it's kind of fucked up. But it's not fucked up at the same time because it's reality. But yeah, as well. Like pool operators definitely are the way. But now we just we're pretty much RC44 due diligence, make sure everything's good, make sure 35 works, mainnet. So then activation. So yeah, we're there, guys. Like now we just need to
Now
go
we're
ahead and get
really
the
there,
word out.
man. Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. What day is it? The 6th. 6/6/26. Let's go. Hey, no, guys. I'm lit. I'm ready.
Dude, I've been so pumped up, bro, especially with everything that's going on, and I've been trenching around and shit, just fucking, lurking and whatnot, dude. And I question, why the 1,000 rule doesn't apply to us here on X. But, you know, when you go around and you listen to, there's a bunch of spaces around today, specifically for trenchers. And, when you start to see that their mentality is shifting over to a more of a stable community and more of a purpose driven, blockchain, that's when you're making an actual impact. And we've been mentioned in three different communities out there, which is really good. Was a brief stunt, but as far as the mentions go, and again, you guys can go out there and check for yourself. But as far as the mention goes, it's super clear that we are already appearing to the masses as a super busy blockchain. Not that we weren't already, right? But like, all the efforts that we're doing as a community is clearly being visible. While I don't think that we're fully there yet, it is a testament to show, that Jared goes and says he's going to go touch grass, and then the community just fucking, they just lift it up, and we're like, all right, well, core development is hanging around, chilling. It's probably for the best. Uh, if anything, we need to be more busy, keep the momentum up, and truly, internalize becoming 100% signal. And it's a beautiful thing, dude. It's not even like we really are becoming, like I've mentioned before, community is lethal, and we're becoming that specific word, lethal, dude. And again, like, I am Frank and you, Green, pumping out articles, and same with, and I don't know who these AIs are. I don't know if I'll get down to it, but as far as we know, there's two AIs out there that are pumping videos about us. So whether that's an agent or whether that's a person, it is obvious that we're making an imprint as far as educational, content, seeing as to, if we haven't gotten, and I don't want to jinx us, right? But we haven't gotten a FUD video. While we do know there's minor FUD, it is definitely getting overshadowed by our continuous, our resilience is what I should say, of the way that we're informing, our message, and the way that we are, basically very united as a community, bro. Like, it's a clear vision of how united this community is becoming day and day, dude. I mean, we've been busy for the past fucking 2 months. I don't know if you guys have been paying. Well, I know you guys have been paying attention to, right? But for anybody that's new out there, the amount of work that's going on within the scenes and behind the scenes is being admired by other communities, and is slowly, introducing the truth, which is it's a really beautiful thing, dude.
Well, I will say, the FUD is definitely there. They had the video a couple weeks ago about the zombie chain. And then, you'll see a chart guys talking about, doomsday, and then, like the chain being worthless. And then they're talking about how Zcash got hacked and Dino coins will be next. So I agree there's no videos, but, definitely seeing that other stuff come out, which tells me that, all attention is good attention, right?
I've definitely seen more good. I've seen those couple references, but no major, like, breakdowns, anybody with any real valid information other than just FUD or hearsay. I've seen a significantly larger increase in positivity, people coming back, once again, for those that have media pages, once again, the last 4 or 5 days, really, things have really just ticked up in views and, engagement and all that. So I assume everyone else is seeing the same, seeing a lot more, DGB tags, different information from other people. I feel like things are really, just keep the momentum going, so to speak. When DGB is being brought up, I'm hearing a lot of talks about, utility. I'm not hearing, security, longevity. I'm not hearing a lot of stuff about, this is the one that's going to be your next 10x, 20x, 100x, which is good. I don't want to bring people here, and I don't think anybody wants people here looking for a quick buck. I've steered
Digibyte
people.
is not an investment. It
I've
is the
steered,
option out. Just
right. I've
always
steered,
remember that. You're not going to hear me saying, oh, go sell your Digibyte or go buy your Digibyte or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes we might be like, all right, it's looking like scooping some up. But in general, no one's telling you to buy. No one's telling you to sell. The only thing you're going to hear from the Digibyte community is self custody. That's what we're going to tell you. We don't give a fuck if you go sell it back. We don't give a fuck if you buy. But we do care if you are storing it in the correct place, which is your keys, your ownership, in your hands. So when it comes to Digibyte being an investment, it's not an investment. It is the option out. Everybody needs to literally remember that and keep that.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. I agree with you, Green. And I think that's the mind shift of when you get people to think that way, they'll realize and investigate that this really is an option out. And now if we have a place to feel like it's a safe haven, let's build on it. Let's keep making it stronger. And that's what I was telling AJ. Like right now is not the time for us to let up at all. We should still be going harder. I mean, I had someone contact me on Telegram, typical kind of conversations is, oh yeah, heard about Digibyte, blah, blah, blah. It's the same kind of pattern. And then they ask you, X amount of money. I'm like, look, can't pay. Send him a bunch of Digidollar stuff. Contact me again today. And he's like, hey, this sounds really interesting. I said, look, dude, I mean, we can't pay anything. He's like, no, I know you can't pay. And I sent him both of Jared's videos. I sent him the Digibyte.io / Digidollar site. And now he's going to write an article about Digidollar. And I think they're like 21 or 22,000 followers on X. And he knows we're not going to be able to pay because we can't or we won't. So he's going to get back to me though. He's like, hey, I'm going to review all this material and check it out. And then we'll see what comes from there. But I told him, like, as long as the article is education based, happy to socialize it. And he was good with that. So yeah. And that's what's going to happen, man. Like the more we get articles and stuff we can reference back and we can show that the community is not the same. It's like I said, dude, like, and I didn't make this up. Like this is, I have to give this credit to GTO. He's like, we're the anti-crypto. Like we just operate totally different. Like we're not about the same things. And so we need to make sure that, and I agree with Digibyte Daily, like we want to have the people that understand fundamentally what we are and how critical it is now that the system is just continuing to get more and more crazier in a negative way, and how we can be that optionality out. So I think very well said, Green.
Sovereignty, sovereignty, and sovereignty. That's why I'm here.
That's right.
But people gotta want sovereignty. What I'm starting to understand, not everybody wants that.
Yeah, not everyone wants it. And I think that's what we have to give them the option and show them. Also, kudos to Digidollar Awareness account. They got a new updated media kit that's been put on the website. So a lot of good updates there too. With all, I think last I checked, that media kit hadn't been updated in 5 years, from my understanding. So big deal. So and I'm sure there's going to be more updates that we're doing. So we just got to keep on finding those areas where we can contribute and keep doing that, because now, like when people ask us, even because I've had people like, oh, well, what, you guys have an integration guide or you have a media kit? And it's like, yeah, we send it and it's got like data from 2-3 years ago or 5 years ago. And it feels a lot better now that we have this guide that's, been updated in June and we can use that. So yeah, awesome work.
AJ, with that article that you wrote, integration. Is it? Explain it to me.
Well, I didn't do anything, bro. I didn't do anything.
Gotcha.
But the new media kit is basically, your I guess the ideal behind that, if you want to say what would be the purpose for the media kit, would be like the pitch in a trade show environment, or as someone that is asking for a one page integration. I guess that would be the closest thing that we could get. And like your direct, like kind of like summary. But again, more so for like that media pitch is what you would look at that. And if you want full integration, you got the Digibyte integration that breaks down, everything that has to do with Digibyte and fully integrating with your exchange. And I guess the media kit would be more so on your marketing side push, ready to attack the way that you approach the exchange as someone selling Digibyte.
Yeah, one thing I want to just chime in is this goes back to the earlier conversation I had with Green about the different phases of Digidollar. Jared has already uploaded integration guides for exchanges and providers, like wallet providers or vendors for Digidollar. So that's going to be another thing we as a community will have to use. Obviously, if we can put that in a more UI friendly format, someone would have to take ownership of that. But the material is there. And we'll need to be sure to use that as supplemental paperwork for documentation for these exchanges or anyone else that we want to add Digidollar as a pairing or integrate it as an option on their existing platform. So that's another thing that we've already got going.
Nice. That's already up and live. That's great.
Yeah, if you go to digibyte.io/Digidollar, if you go to the very bottom of that page, which I am actually on it right now, if you go all the way to the bottom, it says there's wallet integration and exchange integration guides already for Digidollar. So you can, for exchanges, it'll do like cover deposit detection, withdrawal processing, confirmation thresholds, hot wallet architecture, fee requirements, RPCs, and this is all for Digidollar stuff. And then for wallet providers, it's already for people that support Digibyte. Then you're going to have basically the DD and TD address generation, balance tracking, minting with all the 10 lock tiers, sending and receiving DD, collateral management, redemption, and full RPC reference. So all those guides are already on there right now.
Yep, I've used them too. Party pool, baby. Yeah,
That's awesome.
we got
There you go.
way
So, and
better.
then if people want to know, you have the tech specs and the white paper underneath that too for people that haven't even heard about it. You can even reference that. It's all there, so.
Transparency, sovereignty, freedom. Love it.
Oh yeah, and everything's, man. It seems like everything is set in motion. We're just, things take time, as time takes. So, I mean, but we're there. 35 of the guys and gals, whoever you may be, because you never know, somebody might be a woman behind the whole thing. But 35 of us. We're there. We're waiting. We're ready. Oracle's ready. We just got to make sure 44 works, 35 works with the, what is it? So it's 9 out of 17, right? Consensus.
I
What's
still
the
think it would
price?
be, it's going to probably be 9 out of 35 too, right?
Yeah,
Or does
yeah.
that change?
I
Yeah.
think, but for the pulling the price though, it's 9 out of 17.
Oh, is that right? Okay, yeah. So you're probably right, because I know the website right now for the Oracles tab, it does say. Let me just look at that while you're talking. Yes, so 9 out of 35 is consensus, and then yes, it says price reporters 9 of 35 valid signatures required. So I don't know. Maybe it's that. You're probably right. But I think Jared did say something that there's going to be 7 of the oracles that will have like signatures on it. So it'll be like some kind of mechanism to detect.
Yeah,
And
I
so
remember.
if we do lose but if we lose quite a few oracles, it won't hinder us or cause issues.
Yeah, I think it was 7 can go down. Or
That's
no, it's
right.
more than
7.
7. Yeah, I
Now it's
forgot.
more
It
than
was
7.
something like a week or two ago, but yeah.
It was 7 with 28. So now we have 35. So I don't know if that means we could have 14 go away. I'm not really sure.
Oh,
But
true.
we're buffering in a lot more potential risk if need be, like to buffer it essentially.
Yep. Hell yeah. Now we can talk about use case. Well, still, we gotta wait for activation. But now we gotta talk about that push. We gotta get that push out there. You know,
I'm curious to know if we'll have 50,000 nodes by the end of summer. I'm, I don't know. That's just the number I'm thinking.
Yo, that's crazy you mentioned that because I'm literally in the background considering writing an article on it. And I'm like, and I was going to do a prediction pool on Digiscope on the fact that I do believe that too, dude. I believe that, 50,000 nodes by the end of the year is, I honestly didn't want to mention it, but now that somebody mentioned it, dude, yeah, I think that 50,000 nodes is easily obtainable by the end of this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think even sooner than that.
Well, because you're going to force people to set up a node because they have to self-custody to use Digidollar. That's the beauty of this whole thing, is that every time you force people to self-custody, in theory, you're securing the network even more through more decentralization.
incentivize.
Incentivize, exactly. That's right. So as you get people to self-custody, they're now having more control over their sovereignty, or they're having more sovereignty. And in addition to that, you're now securing the network. And then as a result of having more security, you're decentralizing the network too. It's a crazy domino effect.
My question, I think I asked this question before. Is it possible that we have a rush of people just trying to download nodes and then the nodes stop by accident or something like that? Freeze up? I don't know.
No, I don't see how. I mean, if they just download the wallet, now obviously if you have people rushing the site, you want to make sure there's enough bandwidth on the site, but the website is being hosted on GitHub right now, so they have enough capacity. They're managing a lot more larger infrastructure, so I don't think that will be a problem. So yeah, I don't see that being an issue. And yeah, so I mean, I think Bitcoin itself was like what, 25,000 nodes? I think that's the number. So yeah, I mean, if we get like 50,000 nodes or 40,000 nodes, I mean, you're going to make a real case for being one of the most decentralized blockchains with almost even the longest amount of blocks in existence too. So yeah, there's just so much stuff like that from a narrative and storytelling perspective. It makes it so much more powerful. And that's why this Digidollar whole addition to the blockchain is now going to make people that are on the fence about things, it's going to make them like either say you're in or you're out. That's it. There's no middle ground if you want to use it.
Yeah. I can't wait. I can't wait. Well, I can wait, and I am waiting, but
I think as far as core wallet, I think one thing that people might like for whatever reason complain about is the fact that it'll take them a long time to sync the blockchain, and I've already gotten a couple DMs on it, and like I've told everybody, just plug in your computer straight to Ethernet, and you should sync the blockchain much quicker. I don't think I don't know what people's speeds are out there, but if you have 5 gig speed, a blockchain usually syncs in around like 24 hours max. If you have actual 5 gig or 7 gig, I don't know what you guys have out there, but for anybody out there listening, because I've gotten a couple questions on the Digidollar awareness page. It's just plug it into the Ethernet, and that should boost up your speeds. It's really just a internet thing there. It's not anything that has to do with the website or anything like that.
Oh, you also have the other option of if we get a mobile wallet, right, that supports Digidollar. Now, granted, I don't know if Jared's mobile wallet will be on the App Store, probably not, but people could just download it from the repository. That will still provide a initial step, right, to probably not take as long to sync, but it will still force the user to take their coins off an exchange. They will have to still do that.
Wait, so real quick, AJ, you're saying just get a Ethernet cord and plug it up to a to your modem. That's what you were saying?
To your router, and just plug it in directly, and you'll have faster speeds instead of trying to sync in the blockchain through Wi-Fi. Because on Wi-Fi, you're always only going to run 2.4 gigahertz, So no matter even if you have five gigs, you still only run 2.5 or 2.4 gigahertz of information. So you're limited aside from Ethernet, where you can have down 1 gig or 5 gig download, whatever your situation is. Where I'm from, we have 7 gig. So I don't know if you're around these ways or whatever people have out there, but I'm sure that 1 gig is probably standard in like United States.
Gotcha. Okay. And that just makes it faster as opposed to doing it on wireless internet.
Yeah. It just thinks it much faster.
Yeah, what is everybody's speculative prediction on what the Digidollar Digibyte future looks like in the next 2 years? What does everybody see it? What do you guys see? What are you doing with your Digibyte? What do you see other people doing? What do you see the market cap as? What do you just everything? I'm like curious because I'm like, yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
as far as like evolving or like head on immediate impact or like,
And just everything,
right? Because that's like a
start to
versatile
finish.
question.
Well, start to 2 year finish. What do you guys see?
I see. If I honestly see a rush in nodes and self custody first and foremost, right? I feel like a lot of core wallets are going to be downloaded, and it's going to raise awareness. It's going to be like a snowball effect. People are going to start making more videos. People are going to start like everything that we're doing now about like just trying to raise awareness. People are going to do it in itself. I think we talked about that before, like a snowball effect, because and I feel like that's going to be real soon, like sooner. Like I say, I feel like that once we get our 30-day lockup, after it's released on mainnet and we see 30-day lockup and people see that it's working, it's going to be like wildfire. Me personally, this is just, I don't know
And I
much,
also
but
wonder. I also wonder what the dynamic will be when, like you said, CJ, after
mm,
these certain period locks happen that are successful.
mm.
What are people in the that are highly vested in stable coins that are centralized, and now they've experienced freezes and other stuff? Like, what's going to happen to all that? Even if it's not all of it, but let's say it's even 1% or 2% of that volume. What happens if that volume starts coming our way? Or just
Yeah,
stability in terms of just holding in a non-volatile asset that's under their custody and control.
yeah, I think, yeah,
That's going to be a big deal, dude.
I agree. I think that once they see, like I say, once the 30, and I think we've said this, I think we've all agreed on this before. It's like once we see 30-day lockup works, people are going to, especially the guys that we call plants, the people that are just listening to this conversation or whatever, and just watching us from the sidelines and trying to hate and FUD. They're going to see it and they're going to be like, what the fuck? Like, it's happening. And then I see, like I say, I see within 3 to 6 months. I don't want to say, I don't want that to happen, but Green may have a point with that. What did he say? The lockout. I
A
think
big
that,
payout by the global lockout, man. Yep.
yeah, big payout by the global lockout. I feel like that once they see the 30 minute, excuse me, 30-day, and then they see people doing this, that people are going to be like, what? And then people are going to start making videos on it themselves. They're going to be like, what? We just locked up our Digibyte, now we got dollars and we're spending it on Dex or whatever they were spending it on, and just pay. Man, it's going to go nuts. I see this within 3 months, because I've seen, and maybe this is me going off of the humble craze, right? I was here for Humble. Everybody knows that story. Where I thought Humble was going to be like what Digibyte is. And, when I told people about it and, people, my international colleagues and friends was like, oh, what? Humble app, but it didn't work, right? It just failed. And people were like really geeked on it. But if this works and people are doing peer to peer, my God. Like, I'm from New York, so man, that's an international city. Everybody gonna be like, what?
Yeah, you know the
Right,
vibes.
right,
Nixon 4.
right. Exactly. So that's that. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Right. I could be wrong. It's just an opinion. But That's what I'm thinking. It's going to catch like wildfire.
Well,
Like,
even on the 3 to 6 months, you're going to have more people, even after the 30 days, then you have the 3 month and the 6 months. So you're going to have a tranche of those users come out and say, okay, well now even this works. So you're just going to
Does
have
it
more
work though?
validation down the channel, and people are going to now think, okay, they've been talking about this for a long time. It's under mainnet. The network has given consensus. We're now seeing cases of people reporting back without any issues. And now it's going to be what Greens talk about. People's strategies are going to start coming into play. Like, okay, now it's not just 30 days. I got 3 months, 6 months. By the time 2 years happen, you're going to have a tremendous amount of data, because you could have people that are just doing multiple 30-day locks, multiple 30-month locks. I mean, it could be whatever, a whole host of stuff. So you're going to keep, this is why this is crazy, is because you're collecting real-time data to validate what we've been preaching about. It's not like, okay, we get on a space and say, yeah, guess what? You can lock it. You can lock your Digibyte, mint it, burn it. Like, it sounds great in theory, right? And then that's what you see most of the market has done, is they just give you everything on hypotheticals and potential. And by the time they try the product out, they've already sucked all of retail out of it. It doesn't matter. So, and then it ends up not working anyway. So we're delivering the product real time after doing tremendous amount of testing as a community. And then we're all going to get to use it. And the reality is, it doesn't matter if it's a good or bad experience. We will tell people about it, because if it's not working, you better believe it'll get spread fast. Like, hey, this doesn't work. They need to fix it, or I didn't have that experience. But on the other angle, if it really does work, people are going to be like, wait a second, this is legit? Like, I have a real way to do this? And they don't have any place right now in the industry to do any of that. And that's what I think a light bulb is going to go off in people's mind. And then you know how it is. You have a friend, you tell a friend, and the friend says, yeah, I don't believe it. Oh, try it out. So you just naturally, your sample pool keeps growing by the day. So, and guess what? You know what that does, right? The more you get word of mouth and more people lock up, that takes more Digibyte out of circulation. Whether we care or not, that's exactly what's happening.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you made a great point that I was literally going to touch. The data. This is the world's first truly decentralized stablecoin, guys. This has not been done before, so no one knows what's going to happen. So that's why the elites and the regulators and all these people we think that are going to fuck with us, they might not fuck with us. They might let us ride and put us through everything, because guess what? They want the data. They definitely want the data. So sit back and study while we, literally just parallel economy, and yeah, it's crazy. The data is the craziest part. So,
and
yeah.
I want to add to that, like, and we don't know if it's actually users or the exchanges, but like, Binance and all the other exchanges, they hold a big, vast majority of it, right? So it would make sense for them to, sit back and do the research while they just hold, and then just watch what happens. You get what I'm saying? While their nest egg or whatever have you is bubbling, and then they'll make a move or whatever it is. But I could definitely see, like I said, your theory on the lockout, man. That makes sense. The global lockout, that makes sense, and it just they might not be as aggressive when it first starts, but they could be just watching it and just like, okay, this is really happening. And then as we get to 50 nodes, and then we get, I honestly, and this is just me, call me optimistic, but I see us going to 50 nodes by the end of the summer if the 30-day the 30-day lockups work, to be honest with you, because we're already trending a little bit. And then once the Digidollar's out, people are going to make videos, influencers are going to make videos, because they're going to want to make money when they, buying the stuff themselves. No, we're not paying them, but they're going to want to try to do their own thing, right?
I
So
mean, we see that.
Here's
We
one of
see
the
that
things.
now
Sorry to
too.
interrupt. Go ahead, AJ.
Oh, my bad. So we see that now, dude. We see that, you know, that we're clearly seeing AIs making videos out there. And, you know, like we know we've been out for 12 years. So we're aware that people are waiting for a slight bit of failure for them to highlight. I think one thing that we haven't, well, I'm sure that we've taken notice, but I think something that should be highlighted is, I don't know if you guys have realized, but there's a bunch of new miners out there on YouTube videos, you know, teaching people how to mine Digibyte. And one of my biggest things that I believe is that the miners aren't going to release coins. The miners are going to lock up all their coins, dude. There would be no reason. And I think while there'll be a global lockout, right? Like how you guys are saying, we also have to see the play of the miners. The miners are, you know, and we have a 1% halving every month, dude. So every month it's less and less amount of Digibyte. So like how YC said, you know, we're going to get all these players from looking at USDT and USDC and saying, well, dude, if you're looking at it as perspective as a whale, and then if you're a whale, you mine, dude. That's just part of crypto. If you've been a whale, there's no doubt in my mind that you mine, right? At least a big majority of them mine. So if you're looking at that, you're like, damn, dude, I'm going to need Digidollar to start moving a stable. And then now there's going to be miners that are looking at it like, well, you're not going to be able to lock up unless you have Digibyte. So we're not going to release our Digibyte. We're going to mint it. We're going to mint, we're going to, produce, Digibyte in every block, hit blocks and, you know, and then lock it up. That's it. Simple as that, dude. And I think that's a play that us as a community are kind of just letting go underneath the surface as if that's not a major play.
Well, and to your point, AJ, two things. One is, remember, the miners are the biggest guys that are dumping their coins because they're in the business of recouping their investment costs, making a profit. But now if they have a different mechanism to do that, they might not be so willing to do that. Now, here's what I just thought of, which is crazy. Think about this. We are going to be the ultimate model for DTCs, which are Digibyte treasury companies. This is what Bitcoin failed on. And if you think about it, now this changes the landscape, right? Because with all these treasury companies, what they were doing is they were taking shell companies, issuing stock and, you know, diluting shareholders, buying, you know, Bitcoin. And the problem that they failed to realize is Bitcoin's still a high vol asset. So when that asset goes down and they're not in that position, because most of these shell companies aren't cash flowing, so they don't have anything to offset that, then they have to dilute shareholders and, you know, on and on and on. Well, think about now with Digibyte, we will be the true definition of a treasury company, because if you get companies that are now locking up their Digibyte and they're in a stable coin like Digidollar, and it's being pegged by our price oracles, obviously. So that's also decentralized. Now think about this new model. Like, it would achieve exactly what a treasury company was supposed to do. So now how many people will come in and they're like, okay, you know what? They've done 30-day locks. They've done these locks. We're getting all this data. And now they're setting up these literally DTCs, Digibyte treasury companies that are going to come. And this isn't going to be some like, oh yeah, I'm going to lock up, you know, 10,000 Digibyte or, you know, 50,000 Digibyte. Not to say that's not a little amount. I'm not by any means saying that, but, you know, they're going to look at scale and they're going to look at volume. And now they're in a position where they are really establishing a treasury based asset. Like, it's there. They have that asset locked up in their treasury, and they're taking Digidollar to conduct transactions, business, yield, investment purposes, capital infusion for a period of time, whatever it may be. I mean, hell, dude, they might even the strategy might just be to lock up Digibyte and just capture the no vol in Digidollars. Just sit in that until they find an opportunity to go deploy that capital. So just remember that. I think that's another, just as AJ was talking about miners, which I was thinking about this too several months ago, especially if they start incentivizing themselves or finding better plays to make more money on that Digibyte that they could have just sold into the market. Look out for DTCs, man, Digibyte treasury companies. And also remember, if the miners are putting less, they're selling less, that's again less Digibyte pressure that's coming into the market because they're holding it. That's supply constriction. So you not only have the 1% decline every month in rewards and all that, but you also have this whole miner economic model that changes too, because they're usually the ones that are just completely flooding the market every time they mine it. So you have DTCs, and you have mining constriction now coming into play too, and that doesn't include any of the other stuff we're talking about.
Yo, you're literally reading my mind about what I'm gonna say next, bro. That was something I was gonna get into.
I'm anonymous, baby.
Bro, yeah, I know. Yo, cult of cap, collateral to capital. Okay, so this is gonna be I'm gonna keep it private for now and for when Digidollar's live. But, the goal is to
Hey, yo,
capture as
Green, you
much
know the
Digibyte and
vibes, man.
Digidollars. Say what?
Just be careful, dude. Keep it tight. Pause.
Yeah, no. Like it
Hey,
doesn't it
yo.
doesn't really matter, because the goal is it's transparency. This is an experience. But yeah, no, I feel what you're saying. I wasn't gonna spill too much, but yeah, Colto cap.
Nah, CJ, that was crazy, yo.
Yeah, I said it, not me, man.
Nah, Green was bugging since last space. He said some wild shit too. He was asking if people had boyfriends. I was like, yo, what's good with your boy?
Nah, I was saying everybody have fun with their whatever significant others, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever it may be.
Right. We don't
Yeah, yeah.
discriminate over here.
Facts, I ain't say anything.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
and then also think about, like, just to kind of get back on subject here, because I have no idea what you guys are talking about. But either way, these DTC companies, right? Now think about them entering as a participant in a lending market, and now they come in and they might start being a buyer of contracts of people, and there's so many different types of variables that are taken into account that, we have this view that this is why we think XYZ is going to happen. This is why we think supply will diminish by this much, or the economics of our valuation will go, but we don't know. Like, there's these other things that happen. Like, if you start getting these companies, and they're probably not going to tell people that they're doing this it's their competitive edge. But, I think that would be a really interesting thing now if you have a treasury company that doesn't have all the risks and, I guess, exposure that a lot of these Bitcoin treasury companies have.
exactly. You never have to sell. So it's literally like if you're
You
paying
never have to
dividends.
sell. You
Yeah,
can borrow against it, and they will definitely borrow, because they're already doing that in traditional markets. They're just borrowing against their stock. So
right.
if they now have Digibyte and they're holding it for a long period of time and they don't care, and dude, you might get some people that are like, you know what? We have 100% portfolio, like an allocation, and we have 20% in bonds and treasuries. We have 20% in stock market. We've got, 30% in cash. So the rest of the 30%, they don't care if they lock up the Digibyte for years and years. They're not in a cash crunch. They're just doing it as a diversified approach. And if after a couple of years it works, great. If not, who cares? They've got their other stuff spilling cash. And here's what's even more crazy. Now I'm thinking about this. If they take that 30% and now they lock that up, now what happens in somebody's portfolio where treasuries and stocks are generating dividend income and bond yield income? And what stops them from taking that income, paying whatever tax they have to in their jurisdiction, and taking the rest of it and buying more Digibyte to lock it up? You're creating this loop, infinite loop.
Exactly. And then a lot of the times, in an emerging market, especially with like Digibyte and Digidollars, you really don't even have to do the recursive loops of buying Digibyte with the Digidollars that you just minted. You can go buy
That's
things
right.
that people that will buy them with Digidollars
That's right.
psychologically and
That's
regain
right.
that market there, then to thus
Yep.
go and hit the recursive loop, you know?
Yep.
So it's like, dude, the strategies are unlimited. You want to talk about micro strategies? Well, we're going to talk about macro strategies.
Yep.
Digidollar, dude, this thing is going to change the name in the game of finance and how it works because there's no longer a fucking middleman. And yeah, I'm hyped. I'm excited.
You ain't the
Yeah, I
only
mean,
one, brother.
yeah, I think it's like I said, I think it's game changing, and we're also, like I said, we're talking about traditional markets. We're talking about all these, just 4 or 5 scenarios. We're just talking about treasury companies, and now to the point we talked about earlier, the more exploits that happen in these other chains, you will have holders of those chains and those projects that have a significant allocation that are going to lose confidence. They're going to lose confidence in the infrastructure of that chain, and they won't want to risk their existing capital, whether that's in their native coins of that chain or they're sitting in fiat, whatever it is. They won't take that bet anymore, because when you have AI coming in and it can, like, supposedly Mythos is at a level where it can actually conduct like cyber attack, like it can like really go after it from a cybersecurity standpoint. I mean, we've only seen a little bit of this, but if we start seeing a lot of chains get exposed, you really have to think if the allocation strategy is going to change for some of these, large holders of these assets. Is it really the right bet to do? Or should we go into some, and more importantly, okay, we don't want to stay in a chain that does that, but then do we really want to go into a stable coin that's controlled by another native chain? Like, let's say they have a USDC, but Coinbase is the underlying issuer. And let's just say something happens with Coinbase. Their stock goes down, or they have a security gap, whatever it is, or they have an exploit on their stable coin. Like, are people really going to go there now? It's just another layer of risk. So, and on top of it, that risk, they don't control that. That's somebody else that can freeze their assets and do it. It's not in their hands. So you might even get broader level crypto in general to start thinking about, is this an escape hatch? And the way I've kind of understood it too, like from kind of the developer stuff, like, dude, this is literally the escape hatch for the entire industry. It's that big that it won't be looked at like, oh yeah, we're I mean, this is great. This helps multi-algo, fast transactions. That all helps build this case. It was like, it needed that fundamental groundwork to make this what it is. But I think people are going to look and say, well, wait a second. We see the US dollar and fiat's getting debased. We can't go to our bank because anytime we request money, they won't even give it because we don't know if they have the cash on hand, or we don't know how long it's going to take. So we can't go there. We go to stable coins and we try to get out of the system, but they have the same risks in a different way, where they can freeze, or they can blacklist, or they can, something gets compromised. So where do we go now? I mean, and the thing is, like, you could say, well, yeah, it could be some proof of work chain, but dude, we've got like 5 or 6 or 7 other chains, but their structure, lack of multi-algo, lack of speed, lack of, DigiShield, multi-shield, all that stuff they don't have. Yeah, they could attempt. And then on top of it, just the enormous amount of development insight and test cases. I mean, look at how long I think we have like 100+ people now that have been hammering on testnet and we found a lot of stuff. I mean, you have to have another community willing to do that too. So now, dude, like, you might be the only proof of work community that has a stable coin that cannot be imitated or remade. It cannot be done. So you really, in theory, you have like a monopoly over the market. If you want to escape, this is it.
Yeah,
My question. Oh,
that ends up trickling down straight to the real world use case scenario, right? Because we always come down to Digibyte is 1-to-1, and the stable is going to be 1-to-1. It's going to have a legit peg. There's no risk of liquidation, and it's over collateralized, So that's another thing that I just wanted to chime in there, that once it takes effect, it's going to be your daily, you want to sell like your bike at a literal peer to peer, it's going to be a lot easier to get it done with a Digidollar when it's literally one-to-one peg, you know?
Yeah.
Well, and imagine you're so like CJ was talking about nodes. Well, check this out. What if now you get more people to sign up as price oracles? And let's say now some of these price oracles end up being mining pool operators. So now the mining pool operators are like, wait a second, we mine, and this goes to what you were saying, AJ, is if they're like, okay, we mine, but we're a price oracle, so we're now a trusted part of a very select group of people that is providing the authentic, transparent version of this price, so to speak. Why would we now want to sell off our Digibyte if we really understand what this is about? So there's a lot of different psychology at play, man.
Like I said, wildfire. It's going to catch on like wildfire, man. It's going to be everything that, and again, I could be wrong. I keep saying I could be wrong, but I could be right too, and could be underestimating, and it'd be something like we've never seen before. Because people are listening, like you said. There's a lot of people that are plants, probably listening to our stuff. We've been transparent, and with transparency, you know, people are going to try to act. You know, it's just that's part of the game, but it's going to work in our favor.
Yeah, and as I was saying earlier, like you have the treasury companies, and then you have the other aspect, which we touched on a couple of weeks ago, is you lose the vol risk for merchants too. Merchants aren't going to have to sit there and be like, oh, I don't want to accept Digibyte and leave it because by the time I make a processing of that payment, if it goes down 10 or 20 or 30%, well, then I've basically given the customer a massive like discount, which I've lost revenue on that. Well, imagine if you have these merchants that are, because there's no other blockchain that's doing it. Even if you're a Binance or someone that has BUSD or anything like that, you're still not completely free from the system. You're still relying on a central issuer, or you have a counterparty risk. But imagine you have merchants now, whether they're travel companies, airline, whatever it is, or hell, even if you're a blockchain project that manages merchants as your backend, like you have merchant relationships and you are the gateway for infrastructure for them to use your platform to get into crypto. Well, now imagine if the merchant platform or even the intermediary is now offering Digidollar as a backend. And in two steps, if you're Digibyte, you automatically go to Digidollar, you cut the vol risk. Then they could peg that back to whatever, if it's a fiat on ramp or off ramp, or if they feel comfortable. I don't know why, but I don't know why they go to another stablecoin, because that would defeat the purpose. But now here's what's crazy. You get all these other cryptos that they're holding. They have the same vol risk on those too. So now they could take all those that they're collecting payments in, the Monero or anything like that, and they could just peg those to pairs of going right to Digidollar directly. Right? They're going to save a lot more money than the 3 to 4% they're doing in processing and credit, all those fees that are racking up. And that, what that does, that 2 to 3%, that's extra profit margin for them. They're going to have to make a real bottom line decision whether they want to lose out on that, because nobody else is offering a better option, and they get to control it. They dictate that.
We've been talking on the optimistic, positive side, right? But for those who are already self-custodying, everybody who has a cold wallet, everybody who has a cold wallet, right? But for those who do not, the worst case scenario is like, Green talks about the global lockout, right? Or is there another, worst scenario that they can do? And like, can they buy it all up and just be like, look, we're not doing anything. We're going to freeze you.
I mean, I feel like that's as bad as it can get, but,
I agree.
yeah. I mean,
That
yeah,
struck
They're
fear in
not
my
doing
heart.
it. They're not doing it to necessarily freeze it. They're doing it for self-interest.
exactly.
They're doing it because they will block they'll remove all of us out but now they will use it for the functionality that it is. So I don't think it's something like, oh wow, it's a bad thing for, it's just another message that if you are in that situation, you should self custody like ASAP.
Look, this is just a speculative, you know, this is something I see that, I truly do believe would happen and will probably happen, just because I know the power of DGB and I'm pretty sure they know the power of Digibyte as well. But it's speculative as well. But let's say it does happen. I don't think the worst. So there's more to the story than I put in the story. Not only that, I think it would be good and bad that it would happen, but majorly good because, yeah, not only you know, they're effectively removing Digibyte from circulation. Now think about an FTX or any type of collapse like that, or anything where coins have gotten frozen on exchanges. The exchanges pretty much aren't allowed to move those coins for a certain amount of time or whatever it may be or whatever the circumstances are. So that effectively removes Digibyte from, the main circulation in a sense. Then you have Digidollar and Digibyte minting going on, which is going to remove more. So I feel like there's more to the story. I won't get too deep into it, but yeah, it's good. I hope it happens. Not even like, but everyone yeah. In general, but yeah, that's probably the worst that could happen.
I don't want anybody to get burned, right? But again, you've struck fear. Like again, I have a ledger. I have a cold wallet, like right. And I thank the community for putting that in my head to like, brother, take your shit off the exchange ASAP. You know what I mean? I thank you guys, via the DM and via the chats all the time for just telling me to do so and just giving me the urgency within it. You can use fear to empower you, or you could use it to cripple you. And I
It's
used it
it's not even
to
really fear
empower.
at the same time, because I guarantee you, if you were to go buy DGB right now from crypto.com or whatever the exchange may be, and you buy it, the second you buy it and you're watching the Digibyte Explorer in parallel on a different screen, you're not going to see your DGB transaction that you just bought. But when you withdraw it, you will see it come from wallet addresses, exchange addresses to your address, because the bots or whatever the fuck they have in the background running have to trigger and have to send, and it goes on chain. So it's really about ownership. It's not about fear or anything like that. The message is
Well, yeah,
ownership. The
yeah,
lesson
but
is ownership.
right. So when I say fear, I mean nobody wants to buy something, right? And through an exchange or through anything, a store, and and see that they don't own it, right? So then that creates some type of urgency, and like, all right, well, nah, man, I want to own mine. I gotta self custody my thing, because that's what it did for me. And I know I'm not the only one who had their their Digibyte on exchanges for that long, right? I think a lot of people do out of convenience, out of not want to download or whatever the reason is. But I think that with the community saying self custody and you putting it in my back and AJ putting it in my back and just bend and the community just putting it in my back to self custody, I feel like again it pushes the urgency, and then that's exactly what crypto is about, right? You eventually just come to the place where you're like, this is what crypto is all about. Me being my own bank. So how do I be my own bank? Well, self custody, whether it be a cold wallet, then get your Digibyte Core, whatever you have at that current time. But your objective is to self custody. And I think a lot of people probably in this community and outside this community, right? Whoever has like other crypto, they don't do that. I know. I'm pretty sure. I'm not the only. I'm not the only one. That has done that. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in real quick. I see Mocha on the space. Um, I don't know, Mocha, if you're there or not, but I'd love to hear if you had any thoughts just on Digidollar, if you looked at it, or I know you're in the payment space, so maybe you could, or you do a lot of stuff with paying with crypto and you do swapping with other chains. I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are. Can you punch any holes in what we're saying, or do you think it would be a positive kind of mechanism for a company or a project like you guys? I don't know if he's a requested speaker or not.
The mics should be open. Yeah, they're open. So yeah, if you want, man, you can join.
I think they're just listening.
Ponciana. That's how you say it, right? Yeah, probably just listening.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hell yeah. Back to the facts though. You know, I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Self custody over everything, sovereignty over everything, freedom over everything.
In the end, guys, it really only comes down to you though, because you're the one hitting those buttons and, you know, sending those RPC calls or typing the commands in console. In the end. So always remember that. You know, it's you, your core wallet, your wallet.dat files, whatever it may be. Secure your DGB. I don't know why that rhymes, but you know, I tend to do that. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah. A lot of wallets though. It's good to see though, because now, you know, Digidollar 35 oracles, you know, achieved. Really though, you got to think on the go, you know, you're going to want to use those DDs. That's how you're going to do it too, technically. Mobile wallets, web wallets, whatever it is.
Has anybody heard from crypto.com at all? I'm just curious. Because they've been a long time supporter of Digibyte. I've definitely utilized them, but
Oh, in what regards? I reached out to them and I tried to get a hold of their team about, you know, evaluating Digidollar. This was a while ago. I never heard from them. The only thing I would say, just from my experience, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see crypto.com doesn't typically use a bid ask system. So they don't seem to have a lot of volume for Digibyte on any given day.
at
And I know
at
for a
all.
fact that if you're on the institutional side with them, they will only do like OTC deals. And on an OTC level, they have massive slippage. I mean, you're losing a significant amount because they don't carry the volume. So I don't know why that is. It seems a little strange to me, them being one of the largest exchanges, especially in the United States, that they don't have that. So I'm not sure. I mean, I know people use them, have withdrawn from them and did all that, but I don't think that their volume is high. Now, maybe that will change as Digidollar comes out, but if that's what you're asking about, that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I just thought being that crypto.com was the first person that first exchange that I was on, and then Digibyte was the first crypto that I ever bought off of crypto.com. So I would just imagine, they've been a supporter for years, right? So I just think that they would be like, hey, yeah, we're with it. You know what I mean? Digidollar comes out, we're gonna support you guys. I'm just, again, this is fanatical. I don't know them at all. Um, so
Well, it would make sense because they have I think they have like 700 million Digibyte under custody.
mhm.
So, I mean, they're not a small player, right? So there could be, I mean, that's another thing we really haven't talked in depth about is, you know, a concerted approach kind of goes back to Green's point is, you know, you have a lot of these exchanges, you know, some of them that have a significant amount. I mean, what if they all decide to employ, you know, locking up Digibyte, you know, even if it's a certain portion, but they all do it, you know, relatively around the same time, you know, there's some value add there. So it would be good. I mean, obviously the ones that have large holdings under management, I mean, you probably want to ask them to go list the Digidollar pairing. It would be in their best interest.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like they will eventually. But I really truly do believe they're going to sit back and watch what we do first. They,
Oh, of
you
course they
know,
are. Yeah, for sure.
it might take some
Yep.
time, but after a while, once they see success and, you know, things that are profitable and things that are beneficial from the Digidollar and actually, you know, a system outside of the system, you know, it's on. But my Iran theory, dude, guys, I really truly believe that. No, let me not say too much because I'm not trying to get banned.
Come
I really
on,
do
man.
truly believe that
Every
that is
time.
it. Like, I think that that narrative there is in place just because, you know, if you guys catch my drift. And I think they would be the perfect first move, first mover to test the theory in the world's first truly decentralized stablecoin experiment. Not saying Digidollar is an experiment, but you know, it's an experiment until it's validated. Still, because it's the first, you know. So
Oh, for sure. I'm with you on that. I mean, yeah, they're getting they're getting frozen every what? Every other month now. The U.S. is freezing their tether and stuff like that. So they're probably like, what the fuck?
I mean, that's the narrative. You know, that's the narrative that USDT on the Tron network's been froze. They say they've got compromised Bitcoin accounts, this and that. But in general, the naming of the game is, you know, freeze and confiscate. So it's like, if that's
I
what the
was,
name
I,
is, there's only one option at this point that we see in crypto that's viable for this. That is, you know, soon to come, and that's Digibyte and the Digidollar. Like, so I
I
mean, we'll
was
see.
listening to, there was something, I think you were on it too, Green. I saw your name. It was like the market and something like that when they were talking about Zcash and Zcash, about them like over minting, like, the reason why it fell is because it had unlimited minting or something like that, like fake minting or something like that. I just want to know what happened with that, like, if anybody knows.
I'm not too sure, but I do. Only thing I do know, there was an exploit for around 4 years that's been living on the chain that pretty much caused, like, you know, double spins and unlimited minting. So at first it was just exploit. Then it was nothing, and then 2 days after that, it was this exploit's been around for 4 years. So there's no telling what kind of havoc someone's caused on chain and how much double spended Zcash to, you know, this and that. So that's why it's as big as it is now, because the narrative kind of they built it in a matter of days, but the way they built it, in my opinion, that shit's pretty crazy. That yeah, so that's from what I'm getting the gist of. Double spend, been around for 4 years. No telling how much, you know, double spended and minted has been sold and washed, and you know, and then you have about 2 months ago all the Zcash influencers, you know, Shill and Thrill. That was the name of the game, and yeah. So, you know, timing is everything when it comes to life, I guess you'll say.
Yeah, I thought an AI
Got it.
thing found the exploit. They patched it, and then publicly noted that they patched it and that they had to do a fork over, or soft fork, I believe it was called, to completely resolve the issue. But the fact that it was there for 4 years, I think, made a lot of people nervous. Along with, I'm not too familiar with that chain specifically, but I don't think there's a ledger in the sense that Digibyte has a ledger. So I think they're basically having to come up with a whole system now to audit to see if any coins were duplicate, spent, created, etc. Because that's not native on the chain due to its security centralization, I believe as they're calling it. I don't know, as a holder, personally, that would make me nervous. You know.
I mean, yeah, me personally, I don't care. You know, we're over here, they're over there. I'm not a holder of
No, I'm
Zcash
saying
in
like
general, but yeah.
if something were to happen on one of the chains I'm holding, Digibyte or something else, I'd be nervous about that. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. You know, but hey. Hell yeah. Anybody got anything they want to add? Talk about? Well, I might end it here soon anyway, guys. Let everybody get their last few words out. If not, then, you know, I'll send us off with the Digidollar speech. You know, world's first, guys. World's first 35. World's first 35 in play. Just waiting on DigiHash. Just waiting on until, whenever these keys get locked in, the last key. Um, yeah, boys and girls, we are there. We're there. Market's there. Everything's lining up. So yeah, we're gonna see here soon. I don't even know what to say. There's really no words needed to be said at this point. It's just,
Digibyte for
yeah,
life.
Digibite for
What you
life.
mean?
Let's see what the fuck happens. Let's see what this brings. I'm ready. I hope you guys ready. Everybody lock in, load it up. Self custody all the way. See you guys. AJ, you holding the space tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we're gonna be live tomorrow, 8:30 for hashtag DD Creators.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right.
Dude, thank you so much for hosting the space,
Oh
bro.
yeah, no problem. This was a good one for sure. This was definitely a good one.
Thanks, Green. Thanks, AJ.
All right, everybody. See you later.
All right, guys. Later.